I wanted to go and take some time today to talk about my perspective on Haki and how I have a particular theory. It's really, really crazy, maybe a bit too crazy, but also in the current state of One Piece and One Piece as a whole, you can't really write anything out. You can just kind of throw an idea out there and chances are it could very well be true. And I would like to go and share this considering that we have just recently seen Joyboy's Haki be unleashed and how powerful that is. And it really did spur this conversation that I wanted to go and have today with you guys. So if you guys are excited and you want to go and share your thoughts with what your idea of Haki is and what are the true secrets of how Haki is manifested, let me know in the comment section down below, as well as liking this video and subscribing for more One Piece content. So firstly, I just want to touch upon Haki as a whole and my perspective as to what it necessarily means. Because we know what Haki can do, right? And we are still continuously seeing what it's capable of. But I just want to go and kind of strip things back and talk about it as a whole, what it means for characters, and what exactly that will mean in the future when we are introduced to Joyboy. Now, when I say that we're introduced to Joyboy, I definitely do think there is going to be something linking with Haki in the future. Because, well, look, we have just now been introduced to some Joyboy's Haki with the latest developments at the end of Egghead. Which is totally nuts. Now we know that Haki can be stored and saved in objects to be imbued and unleashed at will. It just adds to this whole mystique of the capabilities of Haki. So I want to use that in terms of me just having this kind of broad perspective conversation about Haki and to what that can mean in the future. So we know that Haki is the manifestation of one's will, right? You have people who are deemed to want to reach high in life, that want to attain a certain goal, whether it's being king of the pirates, being the strongest, what have you. So these people with these wills, they are able to manifest this and channel this it's like so incredibly strong, it projects out of their body, right? And something very, very fascinating is the ways in which this can be manifested. And it adds an interesting theory as to what everything is capable of. So, for instance, you have somebody like Luffy who's able to project his will outwards as like a force, right? To go and knock people down. You have someone like Shanks who's able to do that as well. But also, he's able to perceive the future. So, his will is to protect his family, protect his crew, right? And a way in which he uses his strength and this urge to want to go and protect his people is to perceive threats, to see what's going to happen so that he can, avoid that kind of future, avoid that kind of damage to his friends and family. And then you have people who want to go and use their will and their strengths to imbue these weapons that they have because, someone like Zoro, for instance, he has like weapons at his disposal. He uses swords. That is the way in which he projects his strength. It's what he channels his strength into. So he is able to go and, just project his armor onto his blades, right? It makes total sense for me personally that the black blades that we see around the One Piece world are just the Haki that's been stored and saved into these blades by people who have such immense, like the most incredibly powerful Haki, someone like Joyboy, that's able to store this Haki in these blades. And it really does fascinate me at the idea of these blades being scattered, these blades being around the world, right? These sacred blades. And just wondering, what is the purpose of these sacred blades? Like, what was the original intent of these sacred blades, these black blades? Who's to say that the person that went and made these black blades was someone like Joyboy, who was going to fight side by side with Joyboy in these great wars, in these great battles? Who's to say that he was there, gifted these blades, and he went and strengthened the blades of his commanders during a massive battle to go and fight side by side? And that because the Haki was that immensely strong, when he go and strengthened these blades, imbued them with Haki, that it permanently caused them to be black. and that over time, throughout all of history, these blades are the remnants of, you know, the swords and shields of distant past that fought side by side to fight alongside Joyboy and Nika. I've had this crazy theory that the clashes that you see with Conqueror Haki uses, that just they don't touch, like with Roger and Whitebeard, those clashes are an invisible clash that's happening between people of distant past. So for instance, when you have the Will of D, these people that carry the wills of, you know, predecessors before them, that they channel this will, and it is so strong and is so synchronized with the distant relatives of past, or these distant, you know, carriers of this will, that it projects outwards onto them, and creates this clash when it goes against other people. Now, if it is somebody who doesn't share that same kind of will, they will just instantly fall. And that's why you have people that just collapse and they just faint and they just get knocked out completely, because you have this will projecting outwards of them. Say for instance, you have Roger or Luffy, you have this will of Joyboy, of every sort of relative from the past, like the strongest kind of will bearer, projecting outwards and just knocking everybody down because, well, no one else can stand up against it. But if somebody else has their own that can project outwards, this will bearer from distant past within themselves, then it will create this invisible clash. Because the way that we've seen it is it's a physical manifestation. It's not, you know, things break. Like, it interacts with the world. It's not just interacting with somebody's spirit. It's a physical manifestation, which we've seen mainly with Shanks, like breaking the ship that when he went and saw Whitebeard. It was nuts. So that's been my crazy thought, and that I have this image in my head that, like, during like a final battle, when you have like these, you know, these crews up against each other, you have this invisible clash where you have, you know, like Luffy and Whitebeard, or like crews clashing against each other, and then you have the distant relatives, these battles that have gone from distant past clashing once again. Like, just it's like generations of battles just clashing at once. Sounds absolutely nuts to me, and it's just gonna culminate in this final battle, you know, that's been raging on for so many years. It sounds really, really cool in my head. I don't know how exactly you would be able to translate that into a page. It sounds absolutely nuts, but it just, you know, we've been seeing more and more about how, you know, people of the past are affecting the future. Like, for instance, how you have Joyboy's Haki being unleashed, and how that's able to transcend time, and that's able to be harnessed and kept. So having them in black blades makes sense to me, and having them be stored in these kind of rope, you know, sort of, and these ropes to be unleashed later on, has now been revealed to be a thing. So who's to say that these projections of distant past relatives, distant past, you know, figures in history, are coming through as Conqueror's Haki clashes? I find that to be really, really fascinating. And then going back to my original point about contacting Joyboy, who's to say that that is not in relation to how Shanks is able to go and perceive the future, right? So what I mean by this is, Shanks is able to go and see the future. That is a vision. Like, he's actually witnessed this memory of the future, right? Who's to say that we are not able to go and harness this to be able to see previous memories? So, my guess would be that Joyboy was able to go and harness his Haki into these poneglyphs, right? Or maybe into like a final poneglyph. And so, once you're able to go and witness this poneglyph, once you're able to make your way to Laugh Tale, where this poneglyph is, and you're able to translate it, that maybe a Conqueror's Haki clash may occur, to where the person that's going to receive this has to have a strong enough will to be able to to go and interact with this Haki, right? Because if somebody accidentally stumbled upon this that wasn't ready, somebody that isn't prepared to go and receive this knowledge, somebody that isn't, you know, up to, like, who Joyboy has been waiting for, that they will just be knocked out and they won't be able to receive this Haki, which will have a message within it. So when you have Luffy step up to this poneglyph, and you're able to go and clash with this Haki, he'll be able to take it. And when he does take it, within this Haki, there will be visions and memories within it. Or in saying that, it could just be, you know, not to sort of test somebody, but once it gets unleashed and every person in that room, like every person in the Straw Hat is able to go and feel this Haki, we will be introduced to these memories of Joyboy's adventures, this memory of Joyboy's experience in the past, and that will be an easy way for us to go and translate that into pages, translate that into a flashback, and to have Luffy and the crew firsthand experience Joyboy's past, and that perfectly ties into the experience that Roger had with the crew. Like, he would have been able to live out this experience, live out this story, and be able to fully appreciate the history that occurred, because, you know, if one was to go and read the history on just a bit of paper, right, on just a poneglyph, it can go up to interpretation. It's one person's kind of experience written down. You won't be able to live it. You won't be able to feel it. And also, if we're led to believe that Joyboy has as strong as Haki as he has to knock back all the Gorosei and say it's as strong as, like, Shanks or stronger than Shanks, who's to say that if Shanks is able to go and see in the future, that Joyboy's able to go and use this to go and harness any sort of memories that he has during his experience? So that is my theory in terms of how the limits of Haki can occur, that we might be going and getting a flashback through Joyboy's memories once they arrive at Laugh Tale, to every member of the Straw Crew who happens to go and be in the room. Sounds totally crazy, as well as my other thoughts with how Haki clashes are these projections of one's, like, kind of predecessors clashing against each other. But I think it's really cool. I think it's really awesome to have Haki be manifested in such a manner that it comes through that way. I'd love to go and hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. I apologize if my thoughts have been all over the place. There's no real easy way to kind of break this down or kind of have them in dot points, because you know, I have just a bunch of string of thoughts when it comes to Haki, being with the blades and the clashes, and with, like, the way it can turn into memories and sort of, you know, future sights. But I'd love to go and hear your thoughts in the comments. Is there any other theory that you found in regards to Haki that's close to this, that's very similar to this, that may be a bit more streamlined and more well-spoken? I'd love to go and see it and check it out and see what their thoughts are. At any point, if you enjoyed this rambling of thoughts, let me know in the comment section, as well as liking this video and subscribing for more One Piece related content. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next one.